guys? It's Harley Funk, and I love professional wrestling. My guess is that you do too, and if that's the case, welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. Now we are, Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash 2022 is going to be this Sunday. We are going through the previous 16 Backlashes and reviewing them. I know it's kind of a hell of a task, but here today we are looking at Backlash 2002, which took place on April 21st, 2002. This time we are at the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. Actually, the first time WWE's been back to this arena since the tragic accidental death of Owen Hart at Over the Edge in May 1999. Attendance for this show was 12,489, which was down from last year's Backlash from the Allstate Arena, which brought in 15,592 fans to that. Buy rate was up though, as buy rate for this one was around 400,000, while last year's was about 375,000 or so. This event came after a very successful WrestleMania 18, which saw, of course, Hulk Hogan and The Rock do battle in a match that is still talked about today. But the question for this show is, can Triple H actually have a good match at Backlash? Because his previous 3 matches, I didn't think were all that great. He's got Hogan to battle with, who at this point, a little past his prime, but I'm really digging this Hogan run, so let's just see how the Hogan-Triple H match plays out. So let's stop wasting time. Let's get to the show. I didn't watch the pre-show match because if you must know the results, Big Show defeated Steven Richards and Justin Credible in a handicap match that lasted all about 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Nothing really special there. So let's take a look at the main card. Your opening match saw Tajiri defeat Billy Kidman for the Cruiserweight title in 9 minutes and 8 seconds. And Jesus, I forgot how awesome and how stiff Tajiri's kicks really are. And that baseball slide kick that Tajiri did to Kidman sure as hell looked like that hurt as well. I will say this is a very fun way to start the show. Now, last year's Backlash was a great event. It had a solid opener with the Dudleys and Spike Dudley taking on X Factor, but this opener was better than last year, I thought. Both Kidman and Tajiri brought their working boots, but this really just was a great showcase, I think, for Tajiri. He gets the Cruiserweight title after spraying the red mist into the eyes of Kidman. Said, nice, solid opener, great way to start the show. Now our second match, we have got Scott Hall, rest in peace, beating Bradshaw in 5 minutes and 43 seconds. Now thankfully this was mercifully short because it just simply was not good. Scott Hall was not putting out really good matches in this time frame. Bradshaw at this point I don't think really was good enough to pull a good match out of Hall. Maybe as JBL he could have done something, but as Bradshaw, they really just kind of kept it more a brawl and an APA reunion. Referee was a little lenient on the rules, as Farouk really should have gotten DQ'd for hitting Hall, but hey, the referee does not call for the bell on this one, and I'm sorry, man, rules are rules. Sorry, inside joke for my family. Of course, X-Pac actually hit Bradshaw too, did get the DQ, so apparently this is just a no DQ match anyways. Either way, you can pass on this match as it wasn't that great. Luckily, we got a lot more Razor Ramon, Scott Hall matches to go back to if we want some good memories. Once again, rest in peace, Scott Hall. Your third match is going to be WWE Women's Champion Jazz defeating Trish Stratus in 4 minutes and 29 seconds. This also was not a good match. You know, I'm not a big fan of Trish Stratus in the ring. The commentary from Jerry Lawler, God, that did not age well. This was just straight cringe. Just to let you know, during the Attitude Era and this area, there's going to be a lot of women's matches. I'm just going to straight up skip. I have no interest in the Playboy lingerie pillow fights and the bra and panty matches and all that other garbage that they had going on at this time. You know, for all the shit that Peacock wanted to edit out of the shows, they could have probably got rid of all this garbage and I wouldn't have missed it. But I did take a look at the Jazz Trish Stratus match because I am actually a pretty big fan of Jazz. I'm a fan of her work. And as always, she did decent enough in the ring. She had Trish Stratus to work with, who still, I don't know, I just can't get into her matches as well. But Jazz, straight badass. Thanks, guys. Kept it under 5 minutes at least. Jazz does pull out a sweet-ass STF in this match. Oh, I guess there's just one positive I can come up with. Your fourth match. Got Brock Lesnar defeating Jeff Hardy by TKO in 5 minutes and 32 seconds. So, first off, before we get to this match, the Paul Heyman Lita shit with all the Weinstein vibes, garbage. Didn't care for it at all. But during one of the promos before the match, if you look real close, I actually think Brock Lesnar has muscles on his teeth at this point. Straight up, he just looks like he could shoot through a cow. Brock Lesnar, you know, he's so young in his career, but this dude just got it. I mean, he understood professional wrestling, both the entertainment stuff, the in-ring stuff, and as much success as he had in the UFC, not as much football, but the success he had in the UFC, if he would have just stuck around the WWE, who knows at that point what he would have been capable of. I think the sky would have been the limit throughout all the 2000s for him. And, you know, looking at this match, Jeff Hardy was great in it as well. This was obviously more of a glorified squash, meant to get Lesnar over. But Hardy was actually able to get a few hope spots in, and he looked strong even in defeat. And that's exactly how you do these kind of matches. You get Brock Lesnar over, but not at the expense of his opponent. Very well done match. I actually had a really good time watching it. Brock Lesnar nails about 3 power bombs before the referee calls for the bell. Your fifth match, it's going to be Kurt Angle defeating Edge in 15 minutes and 25 seconds. Now, this one took a little bit to get going for me and to actually grasp my interest. But by about halfway through, they got it. They had me hooked. Both these guys worked hard. Angle looked absolutely phenomenal in this. I mean, the way he goes and does those quick-ass go-behinds and snaps into the German suplexes is just about as crisp as you can get. The finish of this match is great, too. I mean, when he countered the spear with a nasty knee to the face and a straight-up stiff Angle slam, and Angle gets to win. Just great finishing sequence to this. Edge came out of this match looking really good too. So yeah, I had actually ended up liking this match a lot more than I thought I was going to. Now, we didn't get a Chris Jericho match on this pay-per-view. He's a little pissed off about it, and he just cut a fire promo in the ring. Jericho on the stick during this time period was freaking great. But we are going into our sixth match. And Eddie Guerrero defeated Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental title in 11 minutes and 43 seconds. Now, I said in a previous video that I lived in the Chicagoland area. Well, you know, I actually lived in Michigan too. I was born and raised in Michigan. I lived in the Battle Creek area for some time, so of course RVD is my dude. And of course Eddie has and always will be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. In fact, actually, one of my favorite memories of Eddie is I went and saw him when he was doing the indie tour right after he had gotten released from WWE. Well, when I saw him, I think it was at a show called Morris Mayhem, and it was put on by Ian Rotten's IWA Mid-South. And the main event for that show was Eddie Guerrero versus a young CM Punk. And that was such a great match. You know, my dad and I, we actually braved a pretty fierce snowstorm to get to that show. Totally worth it, just to see that match. One of my favorite Eddie Guerrero memories. Also had Rey Mysterio on that show, too. Go ahead and check that out if you can get your hands on it. But anyways, on to the match with Eddie and RVD. I'm so glad they didn't go with the DQ finish on this, and I thought they were going to. But this was almost a flawless match. These guys work great together. It was just so damn good. And if you guys haven't seen this match, or you haven't seen it in a while, go ahead and queue up Backlash 2002 just to see this one. And our rankings at the end of the video, this one's going to be tough to beat. Your seventh match, you got The Undertaker defeating Stone Cold Steve Austin in a #1 contender match. Ric Flair is your special guest referee. Match time on this one. 27 minutes and 3 seconds. So I love this version of Taker. Ministry of Darkness being one of my favorite factions of all time. This is also the second year in a row where you got Austin and Taker across the ring from each other. Main event last year, of course, was Brothers of Destruction of Undertaker and Kane taking on the two-man power trip of Triple H and a then-heel Steve Austin. You know, with this match, if you watch real closely, Austin and Taker are such professionals in what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing in the ring, and if you look closely, just at all the little things that they do, to a normal person, might not stand out. But if you look at it, all the little things they do, all the little mannerisms, facial expressions, and everything else, everything they put into that match to tell the story, it's amazing to see, and you realize there's a reason that both of these guys are in the Hall of Fame. Not just because of their gimmicks, but their ability to tell a great story in that ring. Now, unfortunately, telling a great story in that ring, I wish this story was just a little bit shorter. Their opening sprint with the arm drags was great. They had a nice act one, I guess is what we would call the first part of the match there. But once we got to the middle section, all the way through to the end, it actually felt like the match had run out of steam. I kind of wish they would have added maybe a few more minutes to Guerrero and Van Dam, because that was just so flawless, and maybe just cut some out of this match. And I really think if we would have taken about 10 minutes or so out of this match, it really probably would have made it seem a lot tighter. It's a decent match, it's just long. So Taker gets to win. Flair doesn't see Austin's foot on the bottom rope. I did like when Flair watched back the replay backstage and all he could be like, oh shit. So, just, yeah, they could have cut that match a little bit shorter, I think. Now, your eighth match, your wind-down match, you've got WWE Tag Team Champions Billy and Chuck beating El Snow and Maven 5 minutes and 58 seconds. You know, I like Rico. I have no idea what he's doing nowadays, but I would absolutely love to see him brought back as a manager nowadays. Maybe for one of these younger teams in NXT. I think his role as a manager was great. I think we need more managers in wrestling anyways. So I'd love to see Rico have kind of a little bit of a comeback. But in this match here, to my surprise, actually pretty good. It was entertaining. It was kept shorter, which was nice after watching Austin and Taker go at it for about 30 minutes. But not much else to say about it other than all four men looked good in this match. Chuck gets the pin on Maven after the super kick. But hey, it's main event time. And in your ninth match, your main event, Hollywood Hulk Hogan defeats Triple H for the Undisputed title in 22 minutes and 4 seconds. And you know what? Triple H broke his bad streak at Backlash as far as I'm concerned, because I think these two put together a really good match. Yeah, I like this Hogan run from 2002. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of interference in main event pay-per-view matches, because back in the day, you actually had to spend money on these bad boys. But, you know, it really didn't detract, I guess, all too much from the match. I mean, the Undertaker chair shot did influence the finish. Of course, at this point, they are building to Hogan and Taker. But I will say this match, it had a real big match feel to it. Both men looked great. I dug it. And Hogan gets to win after the leg drop. So, Backlash 2002. Decent card. Not as good as last year's. But this one did start off pretty good with the Cruiserweight title match. Slowed down a little bit until we hit about the Jeff Hardy-Brock Lesnar match. And then, of course, the 30-minute Austin Taker match could have been clipped down a bit. But yeah, you know, I thought the show was actually pretty decent. So, how the matches rank? Let's take a look at them. In your last place, ninth place, you got Trish Stratus versus Jazz. 8th place, Bradshaw versus Scott Hall. Your 7th spot belongs to El Snow and Maven versus Billy and Chuck. Your 6th spot, Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. Once again, this could have maybe actually made it higher on the rankings if they just kept it a little bit shorter. 5th match for me is going to be Hulk Hogan and Triple H. Your 4th match be Jeff Hardy versus Brock Lesnar. 3rd match, Billy Kidman versus Tajiri. Nice opener. 2nd place, I give to Edge versus Kurt Angle. But your number one spot for this show, my personal match of the night, belongs to Eddie Guerrero and Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam. I kind of had the feeling while watching this show this match just wasn't going to be topped. So anyways, yeah, Backlash. It's in the bag there. Next up, we're looking at Backlash 2003. I'm hoping very soon I'm going to be covering a lot more wrestling content as well, some of the current stuff. I for sure am going to be covering WrestleMania Backlash this weekend. Might not come out until Monday, but we'll see how everything goes. In fact, actually, I might even get some predictions for that show before it airs. Maybe make a little game out of our predictions. We'll see how I run with it. Also, I'm almost done with AAA's Triple Mania XXX 30th edition. Now, I'm not as knowledgeable about Lucha Libre, so that's going to be an interesting video to watch just to see how I pronounce everything. So, hey, if you guys want to keep up with some of the content coming out, please do hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, go ahead, hit that like button. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time.